Ethan Nwaneri continued his brilliant rise to the top of Arsenal Football Club with a brilliant goal on his Champions League start debut. In this video we're going to talk about why exactly that right wing role could be his until Saka comes back, and why he is clearly getting better every single week. So let's get into it. Now, considering there wasn't too much relying on that Arsenal Girona game, a lot actually happened in it. Obviously 2 penalties, 1 scored, 1 missed, an offside goal, and Arsenal got the win at the end of the day with some weird decisions with a weird team overall. That was thanks to Ethan Nwaneri, who is brilliant in that right wing position, that he's been great every time he plays, and not only did he score the winner at the end of the day, which was another screamer from him, he played brilliant and really showed everyone up. Now, the first thing I want to say is that Ethan Nwaneri in this game, I have questioned in the past if he could do that right wing role. Now, one of the reasons why I said this before is because I didn't know if he was going to want to occupy that central space too much where Odegaard usually is, and not really go down the width as much and sort of take people on. Now, this actually was different in this game because it actually worked a lot better. What we have been seeing the last couple of weeks since Saka's been injured is that the left side has been working a lot better. In this game, Calafiori, Gabriel and Sterling played on the left, but because of the movements as well from people like Marino in that left centre mid channel, it really gave Arsenal a lot of control on that left hand side, and most of the build up came through that way as well. If you look at the passing networks, you can clearly see that Nwaneri is in that island by himself. This is something that Arsenal have done quite a lot on that left hand side, with Martinelli being too far out of the play, which has been criticised before, but this time it was different because it was obviously on that right. Now, there's a few reasons why this happened. Obviously, I think a lot of the build up had to go through Marino because Odegaard came central a lot of the times to cover for Jorginho. And also, Jorginho was a lot closer with players like Calafiori and Odegaard than you would see before. We also had a lot of left footers on the pitch. Even our defence, Calafiori, Kivior and Gabriel all played, so this kind of made it the angles a lot better to go down that left hand side in the end other than the right. Also, with the fact that Thomas Partey's playing right back means we're not going to get much on that side. Now, something this really helped Nwaneri is because we were able to quite a lot of the time get him into good space on that side. He worked really well, I thought, off Odegaard actually in this game, where Odegaard would be in that half space, but he would go more out wide and wait for that slow overlap of Thomas Partey. And the thing is with Nwaneri, he has this ability when he's in these positions to go even on the outside or the inside, which make him deadly as a winger. Obviously, I think it's quite clear he prefers coming on the inside, which we obviously will go through, but on the outside he is still quite effective. This is mostly when he gets into good space down that side and wants to run into it as well, where he usually gets a crossing no matter what. Now, his crossing I think definitely is something to improve on, but that makes sense why he would struggle a little bit, especially with them byline crosses, which is one of the reasons why he cuts inside so much. But it was nice to see a level of him actually being willing to put the ball in every single second, and I do think when people like Havertz are playing up front, this will be a much bigger thing. You'll see the team really benefit from things like this a lot. Now, I think Nwaneri would really also benefit with someone that runs off him a little bit more. Now, we love Odegaard, and Odegaard's control in the midfield in them half spaces is really good, and his intricate passes, and there's moments where Nwaneri will pass it into him and go for that 1-2, which may not come off, but that is something that they can learn and get involved in, which obviously we see Odegaard and Saka do all the time. It's a brilliant attacking metric that Arsenal can use to get through. However, Nwaneri isn't a player that always does give and goes or runs in behind. He is someone that is also very ball to feet, someone that likes getting into the half channel, dribbling past players, and also being that assured creator himself. Now, he's not necessarily going to keep the ball all the time like Odegaard is, but sometimes they occupy the same sort of spaces in this game on that right midfield spot, which it would definitely benefit someone to actually make that run in behind as they could get through. But their passing between each other is really good, and they are starting to get a little bit of understanding when they play, and that will just come over time. Now, something I've got to say about Nwaneri is that he just seems to glide around the pitch. Every time he picks the ball up, he just runs at players, or even not then, he just walks slowly towards the other team. They're so scared to put a tackle in with him because of how good he is on the ball, and I never see many moments where this guy makes such simple passes straight away. He will always try and go at someone, and if it doesn't work, he'll just pass it back, which I love to see in a young player. But he definitely is such a good player out there because he is so comfortable on the ball anywhere. He can have it deeper and he'll still keep it easily, and obviously he's going to make them runs in behind, but mostly want it ball to feet. But there is just frustratingly a lot of moments in this game where he needs them players to run in behind. It's not just Odegaard, there's players where Partey doesn't run in behind. Of course, that makes sense. If someone like Timber was in there, that would happen a lot more. And obviously Trossard's going to occupy the central areas a lot more. Maybe even Havertz would come come over and help him, which I think if you get Saka and Nwaneri in the same team, I think that they're going to cook with each other. The amount of fluid rotations that they could do, where Saka could come inside and Nwaneri could operate a little bit wide, and they can play off each other and run it off each other as well, both doing 1-2s, I think is genuinely going to be such a great asset for Arsenal in the future. So I definitely still think there's a future for Nwaneri in that attacking midfield position, but you have to have movements with that right wing, which I've seen clearly can work in these games. In this game as well, you could see his dribbling level. I think that is the main thing about him being a winger. We've always wanted someone direct and someone quite smart of when to actually go at a player, but someone at least a little bit confident, willing to take players on all the time. He's got that in bucket loads, and his dribbling level is so good. He's got such a light balance on the ball that it's so hard to actually get the ball off him. There's 2 or 3 players around him. He'll keep it so well under pressure and often pass it through to someone or at least back to keep them retain the ball. Now, of course, the moment that everyone's going to talk about is the goal, and it's a typical Ethan Nwaneri goal we have been accustomed to seeing this season. This is why you want him in them half channel spaces more than out wide. I think if he's wider and deeper and on the width a bit too much, he's not going to be very comfortable at making them crosses very successfully. So here Partey actually occupies that area, which allows him to get into the half channel. We make some good passes centrally to get him into that area, and Girona just don't get out to him. He's got 1v1 and they don't even try to attempt to tackle. I get it, it's in the box, it's hard. Basically allowing him to come inside, and his run gets a little bit messed up because Trossard accidentally takes a player in front of him, but it doesn't really matter because he goes past him, he takes his time, and he curls it brilliantly into the corner. Now that is a finish with Bukayo Saka obviously do so much, but I genuinely think that is Nwaneri's bread and butter. Now in the future, he is only 17, you want to see him score a little bit different goals because people will know that in the future. However, he has clearly got this on lock, and he is so good in these areas that it makes you want him to shoot there, and it's someone that can actually shoot outside the box for Arsenal, which does prove a lot of good. And I think this is one of the perfect games to really show Nwaneri's talents, because not only on the ball is he calm, collected, scored a brilliant goal, and probably one of our main island outlets. He didn't really get the ball too much in this game. He really does work incredibly hard. Like I said earlier, very comfortable at coming back and being passer and keeping the ball. But there's also a moment where Girona were trying to break on us in the first half, and he does absolutely a brilliant to run back and get that tackle in just in front of Mikel Arteta, which is exactly what he wants from his young players, always showing that initiative and being able to come back and work defensively hard, which he is always trying to impress, which is even better why he should be on the team sheet every week right now. And just looking at some of the data from his game as well, you can see that he really does occupy that right channel. He isn't going to get near the corner flag or quite deeper because that is not how Arteta really wants it, and it really works with him. And I would say he was quite safe, I think, when he was carrying the ball in this game. He didn't want to make too many mistakes, but some of his passes were quite confidence based. He only made 65% of his passes. I think that's down to probably some of his crosses that weren't very good. As you can see, a lot of his crosses really struggled. A lot of them were also from corners, so that's something to think about. But overall, when he's on the ball in actual play, he is very good on it, but I do want to see a little bit more excitement from it, a little bit more forceful passes. It didn't really matter in this game because I think he's probably been told to calm it down against Genoa because it weren't that big, but obviously that is something that you want to change games. But I think that kind of shows yet again how good he is at identifying when to do these and when not to do them, which is a big thing. And if you look at the goal probability by Canon Stats, he was the highest on our team by quite a lot. He created the most X assists this game, so he's the most expected to actually create something in front of goal, and he's only the second youngest Englishman to score in the UEFA Champions League behind Jude Bellingham at the age of 17, getting man of the match and clearly having a brilliant day, with that goal being the real start of it. And just to take a little peek at some of his other stats if you are interested, he obviously made 1 out of 1 dribble. We spoke about the crosses, he took 5 corners in the end, which is up there. Only had 37 touches, so he didn't have the most involvement in the game, but it was definitely impactful on that island, which we spoke about. But even then, his defensive work was incredible. I really felt he tried quite a lot. He got an 8 duels, all ground duels, lost most of them, but that is okay. He is young and he will keep improving at these levels, and the more he's given moments to do this is the best thing in the world. And it does feel like this season is Ethan Nwaneri's and Miles Skelly's time, because them two are clearly going to be starters in the future and are brilliant players right now. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.